G'day guys, welcome to another episode of the Wealthlab Podcast with Scott and Phil. In today's episode, we are going to be going through cruises, gun purchases, and what we think about the ups and downs of the stock market. This one's an absolute banger. If you're not interested in Phil's section, feel free to skip it. But to be honest, his section's better than mine. I get stuck in the weeds about looking at the last 30 years of stock market returns, and then Phil does the opposite and does some very practical advice. So thanks so much. Let's get into it. Hey Phil. How you doing?
Hello, mate. I'm good. You?
I'm a little bit annoyed.
Hit me with it. What's
All
annoyed
right.
you this week?
So I want to show you, dear friends, there's a chart that I want to show. And so for those who are listening, I'm going to explain it because it's really relevant to how we talk about money and how we talk about our finances. So what I'm doing is I'm just bringing up, going back to the 1980 to today, it's a Standard & Poor's intra-year decline versus calendar year return chart. So what that means is it takes the calendar year return and it also includes the worst drawdown in that time frame. So if you were invested in the stock market at any one point in time, it shows you the worst day of the year, and it compares that to what a portfolio would look like had you just held calendar, so 1st of January to 1st of January. So I want to highlight a couple of things here. When people say holding investments for the long term is the way to go, that's absolutely true. Holding investments for the short term is also true. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to draw here on this little line here. So if we go back for the most recent one here is in 2020. And if you held in for the calendar year from the 1st of January 2020 to the 1st of January 21, you were up 16%. But during the year, not bad, but during the year, if you bought on the 1st of January 2020, at one point in time, you would have been down 34% on your money. Pretty scary.
Sounds terrible.
So panicking and selling in that year would have seen you potentially lose minus 34%. Doing nothing, you would have been up 16%. And there's a few other interesting examples. So if we go back to around 2007, 2006, if you held it, it was a minus 10% decline at the worst point and a positive return. Also somewhere around 2003-ish, somewhere like that. In 2003, so this is 2 years post September 11, there was a 14% drawdown, but calendar year positive 26%. In almost none of these cases, going back since 1980, has there been a loss on a Standard & Poor's investment from if you held from the 1st of January to the 1st of January. I'm going to count them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a half years out of 30 where there's serious drawdowns, and the following all other years are positives.
And just looking at that too, if I'm looking at this chart correctly, Scott, even those years where you have had a negative, they weren't as negative as the worst day. So you've still done better than what you would have had you bailed out on that bad day.
Exactly. So what this shows is it's patience, time in the market, working with an advisor who can help you navigate the volatility, and that means the peaks and troughs, and just being mindful and educating yourself that a efficiently managed portfolio is a set and forget type strategy. And this is a great analogy to show people when there's blood in the water, when things are super scary, just remember we can look back at what it looks like when things were most scary during COVID, during the GFC, during the tech wreck, during the 87 crash. Usually there is a much higher number of increases than declines. Cool.
Yeah, cool.
So that's me.
I like it. Very good.
Thank you. Over to you.
Yeah, mate, I thought I'd surprise everyone today and turn up without any spreadsheets.
Well, I've fallen off my chair.
Well, I just want to have a bit of a chat because I've just sort of been pondering on something that I see sort of impact a lot of people. So, like, a lot of the clients I see are tradies, miners, that type of stuff, right? Great clients, people I get on well with, and usually on pretty good incomes. Something I would say is true for a lot of people that I work with on large incomes, and this is not specific to miners, tradies, or anything else, is anyone that's just got a big income, typically higher living expenses, typically higher debt levels, and more toys. We've got the bigger mortgage because there's a bigger house. They got, they're driving a Merc or a Land Cruiser or something, not a Mazda 3. And you got the Harleys, the jet skis, whatever else. So, that's not specific to tradies or miners. That I see that sort of thing with anyone with a big income. Do you see the same sort of thing?
I think you missed quad bikes. It depends where you are. Depends where you are. I mean,
yeah.
if you're in northern Queensland, the gun collection that's worth more than the cars does sometimes happen.
Yep, I've seen a bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but look, lifestyle as our incomes increase, so does the barnacles of life. So a luxury once enjoyed becomes a necessity.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly right, mate. Exactly right. The point I'm making with this is, if you're somebody that sits on your backside in front of a computer all day, sweet. You're probably cool to keep doing what you're doing. You can work longer if you have to. If you have to work to 65, 67, 70, and you're cool to do that, all right, whatever. It's a trade-off. If you choose to, have higher debt levels and it means you've got to work a bit longer, fine, whatever. What I see happen, though, with people in a similar boat that are in physical jobs is that they might be getting to those later years. We've still got a bit of a mortgage, still got the Harley to pay off, still got the new Cruiser to pay off, whatever else. And that's fine, lifestyle choices, that's cool. But then we suddenly find that, shit, I'm 63 and I can't go swinging a shovel anymore every day, or I can't keep doing that physical job. Now, I see plenty of people go from those positions into ops roles or whatever, and they manage to land the office job and they can coast their years out, and that's sweet. But doesn't work for everybody. So the reason I wanted to bring that up was, I guess, just call it as a bit of a cautionary tale and just try and plan some of that debt management and purchasing, in relation to what you do for a living and how long you think you're going to be able to do it. Because it's easy, if you're sitting there and you got 200 grand a year rolling in, it's easy to keep spending money like it's going to keep falling from the sky, because it feels like it does. But if you suddenly can't get up and go to work and do that job anymore, now we've got a problem. Or if you want to retire and you need to retire earlier because the job's taking a toll on your body and you can't land that cushy ops role in the office, again, we've got a problem. So let's say,
what are we going to do about it? So yeah, I don't mean to jump in. So if you're the spouse of someone who's listening to this, and that sounds like your partner, do we say, because there's nothing works better than having a spouse being like, you need to listen to this podcast and do what the guys say. Like, that's not going to work.
My wife is banned from watching this episode if that's the case.
So what's realistic? So being realistic. So I'm 54 years old. Let's say I'm living in, somewhere, a medium-sized town, somewhere west of Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, could be anywhere. But and all right, that's my bloody job. Like, I can't just drop in a thing. What are you saying? I can't afford the jet ski?
Well, maybe is the answer to that. Well, what I'm saying is, there's no hard and fast, yes, you can, no, you can't, no, you shouldn't, but you need to plan for it. So yeah, cool. I want to go and buy a new cruiser. It's going to cost me 160 grand because I want the new top spec GSR. I want to go fast. Cool, that's fine. If you got the income and you can afford it, sweet. But let's sit down and plan out, how long is that going to take you to pay off? When do you think you need to retire? Is it realistic you're going to be able to continue to work for that time frame? Let's plan out what you need to repay to get that knocked off before retirement, and apply a bit of thought to it. So I'm not saying, and in some cases, my answer may well be no, you should not do that. And then you can choose to do whatever you want, but I've given you my professional opinion. But I'm not saying yes, no, or indifferent, but I'm saying let's sit down, let's have a conversation about it, let's plan for it, so that you're aware, and you're aware of the trade-offs that you're making by making that decision. Because it's all well and good to go, cool, man, I'm 50, I've got till I'm 67 to pay it off, but are you going to be able to keep, can you keep going underground and lifting a big heavy drill above your head when you're 67? I don't know, I haven't done it. But anecdotally, from plenty of clients that I have that do it, no. You're probably not. So that's all I'm getting at is I think it's something that I see happen a bit where I've got clients, they want to retire, the job's getting too hard on them, but they can't afford to because there's too much debt still around. And it's just a symptom of high income, good lifestyle, and that's fine, but we need to plan for it, and maybe you need to do this stuff a bit earlier. And then be happy with what you got at that point, or trade off that you're gonna have to live off less in retirement, or die a bit earlier. I'm not going to put that in your statement of advice, but
look, it is reality. I think it's also to get the spouse involved as well. So get your partner to be aware of, this sounds great, let's do it. When it comes to the new cruiser, or insert whatever lifestyle asset that we're looking to buy. But if you've got 18, 21, 30, 25-year-old kids that are still at home, and we've got the toys coming in, that's a drag. That's one that I've seen as well, which is the adult kids still at home, because it's so bloody hard for them to get in anywhere. Like renting is difficult, right?
Yep.
But there's also a conversation that needs to be had around the dinner table about, right, well, mum and dad have got this much in super. We've got, we spoke to Scott and Phil, and we've got this many years left. And, mum and dad, we reckon we've got kind of this income for X, Y, Z years. It's a frank conversation that I think we encourage people to do, and it does form part of our advice process.
Yeah, well, that's a great point, actually. Yeah, don't be afraid to sit the kids down and say, look, kids, you're going to start paying your own phone bills from now on, because this is all I've got. This is how much I can spend, and I can't afford it. I'd say most reasonable kids are going to go, well, yeah, fair enough. Maybe, I don't know.
That's entirely true. All right, if this sounds like you, get in touch. If you know someone who's like, is this in the scenario, call us. The best day to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best day is to do it today. Don't leave it to the future to jump on these types of things, because the more runway that we have to help is better, and we can have a better change on that lever of where you're going to end up.
Yeah. And I'd much rather have a conversation with you about, hey, you know what, you need to make an extra $300 a month payments to your cruiser so you can still retire, than wait to get retirement and go, sorry, you got to work another 2 years. I know which conversation's easier. So
correct. All right, let's wrap it up there. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you soon.
See you guys. Bye.